She notices everything you don't think she does. Every pause in your voice, every flicker of your eyes, every subtle action you take. It all lands in her mind, and she files it away. But here's the truth. Most men never understand. It's not the grand gestures that make her think about you. It's the tiny, almost invisible moments that haunt her when she's alone. The way you don't try too hard. The way you act like your life is full, even when part of you is waiting for her text. She senses it. She craves it. And the moment you fully grasp this, you'll realize that her thoughts aren't casual. They're relentless. She will replay scenarios, your conversations, even the things you never said, over and over again. Because when a man becomes elusive in the right way, a woman's mind can't stop wandering toward him. The trick isn't manipulation. It's an understanding of the silent pull of human desire. She isn't thinking about you because of what you show her. She's thinking about you because of what you withhold. When you become someone who isn't predictable, someone who isn't constantly at her disposal, you create space for her imagination to grow. She fills that space with your presence, with what-ifs, and with questions she can't answer. Every man who has ever obsessed her didn't need to shout his worth. He simply demonstrated that he had a life worth noticing, and she wanted in on it. Now, most men fear being distant. They fear that pulling back will make her lose interest. But here's the opposite of what you've been taught. It's exactly what creates desire. Desire is not nurtured through attention. It's cultivated through absence, through the tension of uncertainty. When she wonders if you are thinking of her, or if you have something more important to do than reply instantly, her mind begins to chase you. She begins to imagine you in ways you never even suggested. And once her mind is chasing, her heart follows without question. Let me be clear, this isn't a game. It's a natural reaction embedded deep in female psychology. When a woman senses that a man holds value and isn't desperate for validation, her subconscious triggers intrigue, curiosity, and emotional attachment. Her brain starts producing dopamine every time she remembers you or imagines being near you. She literally begins craving your presence without consciously realizing why. And here's where it gets fascinating. It's not about what you say. It's about who you are in that moment. If you're calm, confident, and self-assured, she starts associating you with stability and excitement simultaneously. That's a dangerous mix for her thoughts. She can't turn it off. But there's more. The real mastery lies in subtle unpredictability. She notices the moments when you are unexpectedly thoughtful or when you show a side of yourself that she hasn't seen before. The rare message that isn't overbearing. The call that comes out of nowhere, not because she demanded it, but because you chose it. These small sparks create a mental echo that lingers. She'll lie in bed and replay it over and over. She'll wonder why she felt that sudden rush of emotion, why a single word from you can shift her entire day. And here's the unspoken truth most men never hear. Once you trigger her mind to work this way, she can't control it. She can't stop thinking about you because your presence is no longer just physical. It's psychological, emotional, and deep. And this is where it becomes irresistible. Men who understand this don't beg for attention. They command thought. They don't chase. They inspire imagination. They don't over-explain. They provoke curiosity. And once she's there, thinking about you, wondering about you, replaying every subtle action, you realize that desire isn't about chasing. It's about creating a presence so impactful that it stays with her, even in silence. What most men fail to realize is that women are wired to remember emotions, not words. It's never about what you say. It's about what you make her feel. And here's the secret that separates the men she can't stop thinking about from the ones she forgets within days. It's the subtle mastery of emotional imprinting. Every glance, every tone, every deliberate pause in your conversation leaves a mark on her subconscious. She may not even recognize it consciously, but her mind catalogues it, overanalyzing every small interaction long after it has passed. The men she obsesses over aren't louder, they're deeper. They aren't frantic, they're magnetic. And this magnetism doesn't come from grand gestures. It comes from precision, intention, and the silent art of intrigue. Think about the last time someone truly occupied your thoughts. It wasn't because they shouted their presence. It was because they made you feel something unexpected, something unnameable. That is the same for her. When you act in ways that balance unpredictability with consistency, you create a psychological paradox she can't resolve. She starts piecing together your character like a puzzle, and every incomplete piece draws her back in. She begins replaying your actions, your words, your subtle smiles, searching for meaning she can't fully grasp. And as she searches, her mind generates stories, fantasies, and scenarios where you are central. She literally cannot help it. Your presence occupies her mental space, whether you're there or not. Or, here's where most men go wrong. They flood her attention and availability. They over-explain, over-apologize, over-text. And instead of desire, what they trigger is comfort, predictability, and eventually, forgettability. Desire thrives in tension, in slight mystery, in the mental challenge of not fully knowing you. When you allow her mind to work for you, she creates the drama, the tension, and the longing herself. You become the reason she can't sleep, the reason she checks her phone without thinking, the reason her thoughts drift during mundane moments. That is power, and it doesn't require manipulation. It requires understanding. The key is balance. Show interest, but never desperation. Reveal value, but leave space for curiosity. Respond, but not instantly every time. Make her laugh, make her intrigued, make her wonder why your attention feels like a reward, not a given. Every action should subtly say, I have a life, a purpose, and I am not dependent on your approval, but I notice you. And when she notices that, her brain releases a cocktail of dopamine and oxytocin every time she recalls even the smallest interaction with you. That's chemistry she cannot control. That's obsession forming naturally. Another aspect many men overlook is emotional contrast. You don't need to be unpredictable in a chaotic way. You need to be memorable. Occasionally share a thought, an idea, a side of yourself that's unexpected. Show depth, vulnerability, strength, or a hint of mystery. These contrasts stick. They create moments she can't stop replaying. And as she lays awake at night, her mind stitches together all these small, electrifying moments, creating a narrative where you occupy every scene. She doesn't even realize she's imagining you constantly. Her subconscious has already done the work. And here's the final truth of this section. Women who obsess aren't doing it consciously. They are driven by a deep, primal psychological response to what you embody. You become a puzzle she wants to solve, a presence she wants to feel, and a story she can't stop telling herself. This is the invisible power of subtlety, unpredictability, and emotional mastery. If you harness it, she doesn't just think about you, she lives in her mind. She dreams about you. She craves your attention without ever asking for it. By now, you're starting to understand that desire isn't built on words. It's built on presence, absence, and the tension between the two. But here's a truth most men never grasp. Women don't just want a man who is attractive or successful. They want a man who ignites their mind before their heart. She wants someone who challenges her subtly, who evokes curiosity, who leaves her wondering, what is he thinking? What is he doing right now? That mental chase is what keeps her awake at night. And it's not manipulation, it's understanding how the female mind naturally obsesses over uncertainty, depth, and the promise of something rare. The real mastery lies in controlled emotional scarcity. When you're always available, she never learns your value. But when you give her glimpses of your world, your passions, your confidence, your independence, without giving her everything at once, she becomes hooked. Her mind starts filling the gaps with fantasies, projections, and possibilities that are far more compelling than reality itself. Every man she ever thinks about obsessively has done this without her realizing. He didn't chase, he didn't plead, he created a space in her mind she couldn't ignore. That's why she can't stop thinking about him. That's why she wakes up in the middle of the night, remembering a laugh, a glance, or a fleeting conversation. You don't have to speak volumes. Your actions, your presence, and your subtle choices speak louder than words. But subtlety isn't enough on its own. Emotional intensity is the catalyst. She craves experiences that make her feel alive, that make her heart race, that leave her reflecting on you long after the moment is gone. This doesn't mean drama or chaos. It means moments of real connection, unexpected insight, or a vulnerability that feels genuine. When you can balance emotional intensity with consistent intrigue, she experiences what her mind interprets as an irresistible combination: safety and excitement. And once that combination is embedded, her mind is locked on you. Her subconscious creates an invisible tether, and she feels drawn back to you even if she tries not to. Here's where most men fail. They underestimate the power of emotional contrast. If every interaction is the same, predictable, safe, bland, her mind has no reason to linger. But when you mix calm confidence with flashes of insight, passion, or unexpected humor, she can't help but replay it. She remembers the rare moments when you reveal depth or originality, and she imagines the possibilities of more. She starts to associate you not just with attraction, but with a mental stimulation that feels addictive. And addiction, even at a subconscious level, is exactly what keeps her thinking about you when she's alone. Another layer of this obsession is psychological investment. Every time she tries to decode your actions, interpret your words, or imagine your thoughts, she invests cognitive energy into you. And the more energy she invests, the stronger her attachment becomes. It's a phenomenon psychologists call the IKEA effect, but in relationships, it's the subtle art of making her mind do the work. You don't have to convince her, she convinces herself. Every mental puzzle you leave her to solve, every slight unpredictability, every intentional pause, it all compounds into obsession. And here's the unavoidable truth. A woman who can't stop thinking about you isn't doing it consciously. She is wired by deep psychology to replay, analyze, and imagine. She has become emotionally and mentally invested without even realizing it. The question you must ask yourself is not how to get her attention. It's how to create a presence so magnetic, so psychologically embedded that she cannot escape you. Once you achieve this, you've crossed into a rare territory most men never enter. She isn't just aware of you, she is thinking, imagining, and craving you constantly, without even being aware of why. Now, let's uncover the subtle behaviors that create a permanent imprint in her mind. Behaviors that transform fleeting attraction into relentless obsession. The first thing to understand is this: consistency in unpredictability is your secret weapon. She doesn't need you to be erratic. She needs you to be memorably unpredictable. A man who can surprise her just enough to keep her guessing while remaining undeniably grounded in his own life becomes unforgettable. That tiny spark, that brief moment of unpredictability, is what makes her heart race and her mind replay your every action over and over. Imagine the last time someone made you feel alive in a single moment. Maybe it was a glance, a joke, a story, or even a pause that revealed depth. Those moments stay with you because they are unique and emotionally charged. Women respond the exact same way. And here's the difference between men who are forgettable and those who dominate her thoughts. It's not about who she sees every day. It's about who she remembers when she's alone. If you master the art of creating moments that she can't forget, you control her imagination. She begins constructing entire mental narratives around you. She recalls your laughter, your expression, your insight, and even the small nuances that you thought went unnoticed. These tiny seeds grow into obsession without her realizing it. Another critical aspect is the timing of attention. Too much too soon, and you become ordinary. Too little, and she may lose interest. But when you strike the perfect balance, you create a subconscious pull. Think of it like rhythm. Give her attention, withdraw slightly, reappear with intrigue. She begins to anticipate your presence, to crave it, and to dwell on it in your absence. Each interaction becomes an emotional punctuation mark, a reminder of your value, your uniqueness, and your depth. She doesn't just like you, she is mentally chasing you, replaying your actions, and imagining your reactions in ways that feel uncontrollable. The way you speak, move, and act also leaves indelible marks. A man who speaks with quiet authority, who makes eye contact with genuine interest, but without desperation, triggers something primal in her mind. She starts analyzing not just your words, but your entire energy. Your calm confidence creates a magnetic pull, while subtle vulnerability shows her a side she can't figure out completely. This tension between strength and mystery drives her thoughts toward you incessantly. Every smile, every slight touch, every unspoken gesture accumulates in her mind like a puzzle she must solve. And solving that puzzle becomes impossible, because the answer is not given, it's felt. Even silence has its power. When you don't over-explain or chase, you allow her imagination to do the work. Her brain begins connecting dots, filling gaps, and intensifying the emotional imprint you've already made. The more she thinks about you, the more attached she becomes, and the more she desires interactions that seem rare, intentional, and meaningful. This is how a simple presence, paired with subtle mastery, creates an effect far stronger than words or gestures alone. You aren't just someone she knows, you are someone she can't stop thinking about, someone who occupies her mind at every quiet moment, someone she begins to crave without even realizing why. Finally, understand this. The obsession you create isn't manipulative. It's a natural consequence of understanding female psychology, emotional investment, and mental triggers. When you combine subtle unpredictability, emotional intensity, selective attention, and calm confidence, you become the man who is impossible to ignore. She isn't just thinking about you, she's living in her mind with you, replaying your presence, imagining your actions, and craving your attention without even knowing it. That is the power of psychological presence, and once you wield it correctly, her thoughts and her desire are entirely yours to evoke. Now, you understand the mechanics: presence, absence, emotional intensity, unpredictability, and subtlety. But the ultimate key to making her think about you constantly isn't just in your actions, it's in your mindset. The men women obsess over aren't desperate, they're self-contained. They live full lives, pursue their passions, and maintain a calm confidence that never wavers. They are not waiting for validation, they are the validation. And it's this inner mastery, paired with the behaviors we've discussed, that embeds them so deeply into her mind that she literally cannot turn you off. Think of it this way: when she goes to bed, when she wakes up, when she's distracted at work or walking through her day, she isn't just remembering your words, she's remembering the way you made her feel. She recalls the unpredictability that sparked curiosity, the intensity that triggered emotion, and the calm confidence that made her feel drawn in. She can't stop herself from reconstructing these moments, imagining new interactions, and feeling the pull of what she experienced with you. Her mind is actively chasing, imagining, and craving, even when she doesn't want it to. And the most powerful part, she believes it's her choice, when really it's your presence, the psychological footprint you've left, that drives her thoughts. To cement this, you must combine patience with precision. Never overexpose yourself. Let her chase mentally, not just physically. Allow her to fill in the blanks, wonder about your life, and imagine the possibilities of what could be. Each unanswered text, each subtle act of independence, each moment of emotional contrast adds layers to her obsession. She isn't obsessed with perfection. She's obsessed with intrigue, with challenge, with the feeling that you exist on a plane she can't fully reach but desperately wants to. That tension creates chemical responses in her brain, dopamine surges, oxytocin spikes, compelling her to dwell on you, replay your actions, and crave your attention. Here's a secret most men never hear. The women who can't sleep thinking about a man are not doing it because of manipulation or trickery. They do it because he embodies something rare: mystery, stability, and emotional resonance simultaneously. You become the answer to questions she didn't even know she had. Your calm, intentional presence becomes addictive, your unpredictability irresistible, and your subtle emotional mastery unforgettable. She doesn't just want to be near you, she wants to mentally return to you, repeatedly, even when you aren't present. She craves the mental tension, the emotional spark, and the psychological imprint you've left. And finally, understand this. Creating this level of obsession isn't about playing games or being someone you're not. It's about mastering yourself first, your confidence, your independence, your purpose, and then projecting that into every interaction with intention and subtlety. When you do this, she doesn't just think about you, she dreams about you, imagines you, and can't sleep without replaying your presence. She becomes emotionally and psychologically invested in you in a way that most men only read about. So here's the personal challenge. Think about your current behavior and interactions. Are you creating curiosity, tension, and emotional resonance? Or are you just giving attention without impact? Calculate your emotional presence score from 1 to 10 in the comments and write what you could do to raise it. If this video gave you insight, like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this, because understanding this isn't just knowledge, it's power.